She sets, loads up, heaving one deep, and it is caught! Darren Strong! Do you believe it?
Hey folks, welcome into Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Mauricio Casillas, he's Jayson Chesler, and you guys just saw it there on full display. The Jail Mary, one of the greatest plays in program history, and just a year ago. Now we're one game away from the rematch between ASU and USC.
As if a matchup against the Trojans couldn't be more hyped, this time it's an elimination game, apparently.
Absolutely.
So says the media. And on this anniversary, not just to that matchup, but the beginning of the legend of Mike Bercovici, who better to focus on than the still beloved but heavily scrutinized Sun Devil under center. The ASU quarterback, well, he's been pretty effective running the ball, leading his team and making short passes, but everyone, regardless of gender, digs the long ball. And we haven't quite seen Berco's cannon this year. To talk about Berco, USC, and all things Sun Devil football, we bring in Elaine Wilson, our very own ASU football correspondent. Elaine, we know what the people want. They want quarterbacks.
Right.
Got two good ones in this matchup. Mike Bercovici, Cody Chesler. How do these two stack up?
Well, we're going to see how they stacked up last year, because obviously last year could be a fair indication of what's going on this year. Cody Chesler didn't throw a single touchdown, under 300 yards. Mike Bercovici over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, I said that could be an indication. Will it likely be an indication is the answer, and I don't think so. I think Cody Chesler, former Heisman candidate, is really going to go off in this game.
That huge yardage, those passing touchdowns, we haven't quite seen it from Berco this year. Instead, we're seeing him use his wheels, his legs. Is this the evolution of Mike Bercovici as a football player?
I think it was an evolution because of all those injuries that they were having in the backfield. Kalen Balaj out, Gump Hayes out, but now those guys are expected to come back. They're going to go back in the backfield, and DJ Foster, he's not going to have to pick up that slack anymore in the backfield. He's going to go back out to the receiving core, back on the perimeter. Berco is going to be able to get more long balls that way, like you were saying earlier. But the wheels on Berco, now that's just a secret weapon that they'll be able to use. So hopefully they can pull it off.
Well, keep it tuned for CronkiteSports.com for all of your Sun Devil football coverage. Thanks again, Elaine.
Thank you.
Now, if you don't like football, but you like Mill Avenue, maybe you'll be seen in this week's edition of Street and Greet. We sent Nick Wixman out with, well, a bunch of lying questions to Mill Ave on Thursday. Stay tuned.
The Arizona State volleyball team has done something that has not been achieved since 1973. After defeating rival Arizona in 4 sets last night, the number 7 Sun Devils are now 12-0. The second best start in program history, and the fans in Tempe have started to take notice. The 5,152 people in attendance were the most since head coach Jayson Watson took over the team in 2008. Now let's take a look at how the Sun Devils captured the win. Pick things up in the second set with a beautiful pancake dig there from Bianca Arellano. However, the Wildcats would end up taking that set 25-12. Then here's Cassidy Pickrell gets the kill to make it set point in the third, and Whitney Follett seals the set with the block. Sun Devils up 2-1. Then early in the fourth, seasoned veteran Macy Gardner puts the ball away with authority. And who else but Gardner once again right here, sealing the W with a block. Sun Devils would end up winning this game 3-1. Now with her performance, Macy Gardner is now only 51 kills away from tying the program record. While she was a big part of the win, reporter Troy Lynch has a story on how setter Bianca Arellano's performance was instrumental in getting the Sun Devils their 12th win of the year.
Having run a 6-2 all season, the Sun Devils switched back to a 5-1 as freshman setter Kylie Pickrell sat out the last 2 sets with a hurt knee, leaving senior setter Bianca Arellano to lead her team to a 3-1 win.
It doesn't surprise me because that's what she wants, and that's what she works for, and that's what she does, and that's what she's trying to get better at.
Arellano ended the match with a season-high 39 assists, passing Noelle Frederick for 5th in ASU history.
I don't necessarily measure it outcome-based by rankings and stuff, but definitely a goal of mine to be the best setter.
After the game, Watson said that when Kylie Pickrell is healthy, they will switch back to a 5-1. But until then, they'll have to put their trust in Arellano. Reporting for WCSN.
The newest NCAA program, Sun Devil Hockey, they named their 3 captains in a press conference earlier this week. That is 3 captains. All 3 men will wear the Captain C with no assistants A's to be found. Representing the team's 20 new players will be graduate forward Garrett Peterson, a high-energy two-way center who transferred in from Notre Dame. The other 2 are returners. That's senior defenseman Jordan Young and graduate forward Liam Norris.
Liam's a big cog for us. You know, these 25-year-old centers at the NCAA level don't grow on trees. So his maturity, his passion for our program, he's a true Sun Devil.
Yeah, Jason, you can definitely tell the Sun Devils are excited for that October 3rd opening for Sun Devil hockey, absolutely. Now it's time for our social media segment with Dominic Cotronio. Now, Dom, we know you spent countless hours scouring the internet for this segment, so what do you got for us?
Guys, I took so much time. I took a lot of Red Bull, a lot of coffee for that Starbucks downstairs at Taylor Place. Not really working out for me anymore, but here's what I found for you. We go down south to Tucson, where some news about some jerseys have come out from U of A hockey. These are not very good, guys. Brand new hockey sweaters.
Ooh, wow.
Hockey. Wow. Guys, initial thoughts on these red, white, and blue unis?
You know, early on in my career covering ASU hockey, I learned not to call them jerseys, to call them sweaters, but that, just call that ugly. That's awful.
Yeah. My grandmother could probably knit a nicer sweater than that. Oh my gosh.
I bet she can, Mal.
U of A, yeah, she's actually a good knitter, but you know, grandma sweaters.
The cats on the socks does not look good. Second tweet now. We get ready to move on to ASU debuting some new jerseys maybe on Sunday. Guys, what are we thinking about this? The hammer clue? Is there anything going on here?
I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. They're being a little inconspicuous here with what's going on. The hammer, steel. Last year they did copper. I'm just trying to figure out where they're going here. Not entirely sure.
You know, I read a lot of Sherlock Holmes stories as a kid, but I got to tell you, my investigative skills, they're not up to snuff. I can't figure it out. Honestly, I can't even remember all the nicknames for all the ASU football jerseys. It's a challenge.
I'm all about the Hardy Boys, though, for investigative books from younger days. But now, our final tweet. This one, I want to give your caption on this one. Amber Freeman has caught a funny photo here from the USSA Pride, which is her pro softball team, and her good friend Lauren Chamberlain having some fun with her when swimming has 34 events in the Olympics and softball isn't in at all. What's your caption for that photo from Amber Freeman?
Freeman herself, I think, made the greatest Amber Freeman joke of all. We displayed it last year, I want to say, on Tweets of the Week. Draft day, Amber Freeman, when she got drafted. I love Drake. That's all I got.
You know, it's kind of ridiculous. Softball, being such a huge sport here collegiately, is just not represented in the Olympics. I'm sorry. Amber Freeman's looking a little salty there.
Swimming is 34 of it.
That's crazy.
At least that Amber Freeman
no wonder
back
Mike
in
Phelps wins so
in
many.
just over a week for a scrimmage. The Pride are facing off against ASU softball coming up next weekend. But that's all I've got in the land of social media. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Dom. Great stuff as always. Now we're moving on to a different team, Sun Devil Soccer. After starting the season 4-0 for the first time since 2000, the Sun Devil Soccer team has dropped 3 straight games. Most recently, the team was shut out against the Oklahoma schools this past weekend. Sun Devils went from being the number 18 ranked team in the country to now being booted out of the polls. With Pac-12 opponent Washington State coming into Tempe this weekend, the Sun Devils will look to get back to their winning ways.
We need to go back to doing the things well that we're good at, and we lost a little of that this last weekend. So we're just going back to basics and just remind ourselves of who we are.
We talk a lot on this show about what the Sun Devils need to do in every sport to compete in the Pac-12. But what about what the Pac-12 is doing? Here's Tyler Pagley with Impact. Mind the emphasis. Our look at a marquee matchup without maroon and gold that affects the Sun Devils.
Thanks, guys. This week's game with the biggest impact in the Pac-12 has to be UCLA versus Arizona. Here's the facts. Both teams are ranked and undefeated. The Bruins started pretty well, but have struggled to totally get going. Their true freshman quarterback, Josh Rosen, has struggled as of late, and he's had his issues. And star linebacker Miles Jack is out for the season with a knee injury. Arizona, however, has been moving in the opposite direction. Scooby Wright is finally healthy and will tremendously help the Wildcat defense. Now for what it all means. If UCLA wins, they are undefeated going into next Saturday's bout with the potentially 500 Sun Devils in Westwood. An Arizona upset would keep UCLA's struggles going and perhaps allow ASU a better chance of victory next week. It's not often that Sun Devils root for Wildcats, but that's just what might have to happen if ASU wants to stay in the race for the Pac-12 South. Oh, and UCLA's coach, Arizona coach Rich Rodriguez is undefeated against top 10 teams in Tucson despite UCLA being the favorite. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. That was our look around the Pac-12. Let's look around the anchor desk. Me and Mal.
Let's do it.
This segment's called The Way It Is. 1-sentence questions, 1-sentence answers. Whoever talks the best gets to talk more with a monologue. You ready, Mauricio?
Let's do it.
Let's get it underway. Sun Devil Volleyball picked up a big win to start Pac-12 play. What's more important, that win or the Territorial Cup point it earned over the Wildcats?
Jason, I think any time that you're doing something historic, something that a team hasn't done since 1973, it's got to be the win over the Territorial Cup point. Question number 2, Jason, your reaction to hockey naming its 3 captains, Liam Norris, Jordan Young, and of course newcomer Garrett Peterson.
We heard Coach Powers talk about Liam Norris. I talked about Garrett Peterson. But let me rep Jordan Young, my fellow Cave Creek Arizonan. Defensive leadership, great, personable speaker. I'm a big fan of all those selections. Question 3, 3 in a row. That's what the Sun Devil football team's looking for against USC. The football team's never won 3 in a row against the Trojans. Is this the first time it happens?
Jason, it's been 2 straight years that Arizona State has embarrassed USC. Lane Kiffin gets fired, then the Jail Mary happens. I think USC is going to come in here with a chip on their shoulder. Cody Chesler is going to get his first win at Sun Devil Stadium. Question number 4, Jason, we just talked about it. Soccer lost 3 in a row after starting off 4-0. Now, what's more indicative of the team's skill? That hot start or that cold streak at the end?
You know, that dominant stretch at the beginning, they were so good on both sides of the ball, shutting out their opponents, putting plenty through on the scoreboard of their own. Give me the hot streak. I think they can get back together. Mauricio, the gymnastics schedule was just released. Now, this team just won 2 meets last season. Can they up that total this year?
Jason, I think so. Now, Renee List is in her 2nd year as gymnastics head coach. 2 meets. This Sun Devil team has more talent than that. Their non-conference is a little tough, but once they get into Pac-12 play, I think that's where they really pick it up. Jason, last question, and arguably the most important.
Always.
DJ Foster has proven that he can play both receiver and running back. Now, what else do you think the senior can excel in?
Funny you should ask that, Mauricio. This Saturday, a great chance for DJ Foster to show his skills. He opens today in Gamage's performance of Wicked. He'll star in that musical. Then off to Summer End's Music Fest. I think an early performance from getting the crowd going with some mono. Folk music, bluegrass,
Maybe, who knows?
And then, yeah, he plays football or something against USC. Apparently, he's good at that.
Apparently.
Who knew?
Gosh, DJ Foster, talented guy. Busy weekend for him.
Very talented.
Now time to figure out who wins the way it is. Let's go. Last night, Sun Devil fans did something that I haven't seen in my 3+ years here at Arizona State. They finally showed respect to the number 7 volleyball team. Respect that this team certainly deserves. Over 5,000 fans packed Wells Fargo Arena for their game against U of A. Arizona State fans really don't have the best reputation in terms of participation, but they delivered last night. Usually fans only make it out to men's basketball and football games, but on Thursday night in Tempe, volleyball was all that people were talking about. The atmosphere was electric in Wells Fargo, and the team's performance was historic. You did good, Sun Devil fans, and that's the way it is.
You know what else was electric on Thursday night? Apparently Mill Avenue.
Oh, absolutely. For more on that, we bring in our Street and Greet correspondent, Nick Wixman. Now, Nick Wixman, as always with Street and Greet, he asks people what they're anticipating. This weekend, it's ASU, USC. He asks the hard-hitting questions, but of course, they're littered with lies.
We're not so live here at Camp Fargo, Wells Fargo Arena in Tempe. I'm Nick Wixman. This is your Street and Greet.
Oh, 8. I'm gonna go with about like 10 to 15.
7. 7?
Yeah.
It's gonna be harder, I think, for him because his own line has to deal with the more fast-paced defenses that we have. Well, they have to deal with the slower style of defense they use.
Right now in the season?
Yeah.
Not Reggie Bush.
Not Reggie.
Why?
Because he's not been doing so good this year.
Oh, that's a tough one. Mokiola.
I mean, Trojans can break, so we can break them.
How do you think Chesler does as Burko's roverback for Saturday's game?
I have no idea who Chesler is, but he's definitely not Brett Favre.
He's not.
No, he's not. He's not Aaron Rodgers.
Do you know who he's related to?
I'm guessing he's probably related to Teddy Bridgewater.
Hail Mary. Jail Mary. Let's one time Jail Mary for me.
Okay, yes, Jail Mary. You guys want a Jail Mary. But look, USC wins 54 to 48.
You heard it here. That's your Street and Greet.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Reggie Bush getting no love, an ex-Kardashian, an ex-USC Trojan. Where do you fit in, Reggie?
He won the Heisman and then, well, kind of got it taken away.
No, he didn't. Thank you, Nick, and thank you to all of our Thirsty Thursday Mill Avenue bar goers. Hopefully you all can still trust us to tell the truth, at least in terms of who ASU is playing this weekend. Now here with our weekend forecast, it's Andre Sims.
Thanks, guys. Not too much going on this weekend as we fast forward to Saturday. Men's golf heads to the South Dakota State Invitational, ironically held in Nebraska. Of course, 7 p.m., the football team plays number 19 USC at Sun Devil Stadium. On Sunday, not pictured on the screen, the golf team is still in Nebraska with the same tee time. If you're a morning person, women's soccer takes on Washington State at 11 later in the day. Volleyball, 7th-ranked team in the country, will face Oregon State at home at 1 p.m. That's all for the weekend forecast. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Andre. Now, of course, we all know that no CSL show is complete without top plays. Here they are, the most athletic achievements we've caught on camera this week. Pick things up with number 3. We saw it earlier in the show. It's Macy Gardner with an emphatic block to seal the win for Arizona State.
Number 2, it's D2, ACHA Hockey, the club team from ASU. 20 seconds on the clock, they're taking on Weber State. Nick Kyvan wins it. They give out a game-winning goal for every game in hockey. That's a real GWG for the ASU club team.
And of course, our number 1 play is from Sun Devil football's win against New Mexico. Quarterback Mike Bercovici steps up in the pocket and hits a wide open DeMario Richards, Super DeMario, hopping on Yoshi's back. This one takes it 93 yards for the score. He finished with 151 receiving yards, a school record for a Sun Devil running back.
Yeah, you know, I heard someone say he got on his horse for that one. I always thought that impression involved actual horses. I see what they mean now.
He's doing it all with 2 legs, Jayson. Now that's all we got for you guys. For Jayson Chesler and the rest of our crew here, I'm Mauricio Casillas saying so long from our downtown Phoenix studios. Thanks for watching.